Welcome back to Adams Field. It's halftime where Wayne State leads Ashland 21-7. I'm Tony Ortiz, and Paul Winters isn't the only coach that I get the bug at halftime and after games. I've got two more of them over here. These are actually two of my favorite people in the world. Women's head basketball coach Carrie Lohr, men's head basketball coach David Greer. Guys, thank you very much for joining me here at halftime.
Thank you.
First question I got to ask, guys, before we even dive into the upcoming season, the new arena that's going to be built opened up in 2021. How excited were both of you to hear about that, and how much is that going to help in your recruiting with that new arena? We'll start with Carrie.
Okay. Well, no question, it's incredibly exciting. It's definitely going to change the landscape of basketball and really athletics here. Not only will our student athletes benefit from that, but we really are optimistic that, you know, city of Detroit community, it'll be a community effort in terms of just the involvement and the use, G League being here,
yep.
The Pistons organization. So no question, Wayne State's excited about it. We're excited about it, but I think it's going to have some layers, and others will be involved and be able to utilize it as well.
Dave.
I'm really excited about the partnership with the Detroit Pistons. I think it's a great thing. They built their practice facility here in the city. You know, they came back, is playing down at Little Caesars Arena, and you know, they just made a commitment to the city, and Wayne State is part of that, and it'll be a great partnership, and our young men, they love them some Pistons.
And David, you talk about the commitment here in downtown Detroit and inside the city of Detroit. This is all part of the rebirth of Detroit, the rebuilding of Detroit, which has been down for a long time, isn't it?
It is, and Wayne State ties right into that, and you know, you can see it coming, and with the new arena and just the partnership, Wayne State will be a big part of that.
Let's dive into the season. Carrie, I'm going to start with you. Your team had 13 wins last season. You were in the GLIAC tournament, however, got bounced out in the first game by Grand Valley State. So I'm asking you, how disappointing was that last year to get bounced out in the tournament, and how much of a sense of unfinished business is it for you and the Lady Warriors this year?
Well, you know, obviously getting to the GLIAC tournament is a goal every year, so that's definitely on the board for 1920 and a goal that we're going to look to achieve. No question that it was disappointing to lose there, but new season, I think we have a little bit of a new look, some new faces, and a little bit more experience. So really played a lot of freshmen last year. Actually, all four of my freshmen from a year ago played quite a bit. In fact, we're in my starting lineup. So I'm optimistic that, you know, those bumps and bruises maybe we took a year ago will help us this year in the win column.
David, you kind of took some bumps and bruises last year as well. 8 wins, didn't make the GLIAC tournament. I'm sorry to bring that up, but I'll ask you the same thing. How disappointing was that? And how much of a sense of unfinished business do you and the returning players have?
Obviously, it was a little disappointing, but I was very proud of my team last year. We only went about 6 or 7 deep, and we lost about 6 or 7 games on last possession games and points. I mean, so I was really proud of them, the way they really competed. I thought Ladden Davis and Javon Henderson gave us some great minutes and some great leadership. We lost those seniors, but I was proud of them. I thought they competed very well.
You had a pretty busy offseason. You added 4 transfers to your roster this year. How critical a role will those transfers play on your team?
Well, I really don't even like to talk about newcomers because you really don't know what you're going to get. And really those transfers, they're coming from programs where they didn't play a lot. Braylon Neely is the only young man transferred from Oakland University that played quality minutes. So a lot of them think they're coming down to Division II and it's going to be a cakewalk, and they're pleasantly surprised once they get in our league. So
Neely was a guy I remember seeing at Oakland, like you said, he was a pass first, shoot second type of point guard, which kind of fits into your thoughts about your team, that you like to have that type of a point guard to set up into your offense.
He is, and that'll allow us to move Darren Oren White off the ball a little bit, and Darren had an outstanding year last year. I thought, you know, he made second team, but in my mind, he's definitely a first teamer, but, you know, he averaged like 18 points a game. He led the league in three-point field goal percentage, and Darren's going to have a big year for us, especially with Braylon running the point.
And, of course, with the David Greer team, he's got to be able to play defense.
And both of those guys can play defense and be able to put pressure on the ball.
Carrie, this was a busy offseason for you, too. You added a pair of transfers as well. How important are those transfers? How will they fit into your system as well?
You know, this week was really the first time that we really had a chance to watch them play. They're both were players that we recruited out of high school, and didn't work out, and now they're here. But it's really been a while since we actually watched them play. Once they, make their commitment out of high school to go to another school, you really don't follow them much anymore. So we were, very happy to be contacted by them and get them in a Wayne State uniform. But it's still a little bit of a learning process too. We're trying to figure them out, and they're trying to figure out our system as well.
Both went to the same high school, if I'm not mistaken, as well, Ann Arbor Huron, correct?
Yes, and ironically, it wasn't a package deal. They really didn't know the other. The other was in discussion. So definitely some chemistry there that they bring. They're familiar with one another, but it's been a really good first week, and I've been pleasantly surprised at what I've seen out of them.
Now I've got to ask, you guys are getting new locker rooms, each of you this year, inside the Math Eye, and I understand, especially you, Carrie, you had an interesting hand in everything. I had a little birdie tell me that you were really very involved in how your locker room for the Lady Warriors was set up. Very involved.
Well, I just feel like sometimes there's some things that we need in our locker room that maybe others haven't been thinking about, you know? So clearly it was a nice contribution and a donation that led for us to have a renovation in our locker room, and it was much needed. It's a little hard to describe, but with that being said, it's definitely a great place for our student athletes to go, and locker room is really kind of another home for them.
Yeah, pretty much. And David, how important was it to get that new locker room in there?
Well, really, we don't want to make them too nice because the guys may not want to come out and play any defense. But, again, Rob Fournier has done a great job with all our facilities here. You see the upgrades around campus, and, it's a big plus, but, going into the new arena, that locker room would be really nice right there.
Final question for me, guys, and it's this. What do your teams respectively need to do to improve on your seasons from last year? David, I'm going to start with you.
Well, it'll really be tough because there's a lot of teams in our league are returning some veteran players, and, Ashland, we're in the South, will be really strong. Davenport actually won the league last year, so it'll be tough for us, but, it never changes. You got to play defense, you got to rebound, and, you got to be tough out there. And if we can build on those things, I think we'll be right there.
Carrie?
Yeah, I agree. I think we just have to become a better defensive team, build off where we were a year ago, and make sure that we're taking care of the little things. I mean, little things like a free throw, those become a very big thing. We led the league in getting to the free throw line, and unfortunately that wasn't the same statistic when it came to free throw percentage. So something that we have to just get better at. We have to get better at a lot of the little things, but without question, you got to defend in this league. There's a lot of great teams, and it's going to be tough.
Wayne State head women's basketball coach Carrie Lohr, men's head basketball coach David Greer. Thank you both very much for joining me. There is one advantage to basketball over football, though, I have to admit.
It's an indoor sport.
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
Freezing.
Just a little bit. The weather doesn't affect you when you're trying to talk and mention somebody's name like Carrie Lohr. So there you go. Guys, thank you again for joining me. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Halftime, Wayne State 21, Ashland 7. Kevin and Rod will be back to recap the first half, look ahead to the second half. Wayne State looking to pull off the victory over a pretty good Ashland team. Can they do it? Find out when you come back to CN 900.